colors, these are the color pencils that I was telling you about. Expensive, fancy, and I want you to take very good care of them. There are little baskets that I want you to put your color pencils in because I don't want them to roll off the table and fall into the floor and then they break on the inside. Have you ever had that sharpened and it's breaking? Okay. So if you would do that, keep them in the baskets. Don't take every color under the rainbow, simply because then I don't have enough for everybody to have their own, 15 colored pencils in a range of colors. So share with your neighbors, or take the few that you need at that time, and then you can go back and get more. All right. With blending colored pencils, I'm going to demo just a little swatch over here so you can get an idea just how to blend the colors, and you can practice and see if the colors work nice together. And then you can go in, you can either trace it on another sheet of this drawing paper, or you could just practice on your newsprint. Just note to self, the way it colors on newsprint and the way it colors on drawing paper is different. People find that they like newsprint better because it's like a smoother paper and it blends easier. So they get disappointed when they get to their final and it doesn't blend quite as nice. All right, so when you're looking for colors that blend, let's say I'm going to do my warm colors. Warm colors are what 3 colors?
Red, orange, and yellow.
Red, orange, and yellow, good. So we know these colors blend nicely together. The only thing you need to consider is when you go, red to orange is not bad, but when you go from orange to yellow, that's quite a jump, all right? So it's helpful to get those intermediate colors in there. So if you find a yellow-orange, there is a red-orange if you need it, but like I said, this isn't too terrible of a jump, so this would be fine. But getting that red-orange will help that transition a little bit better, all right? So if you're testing colors to find out if they blend, just lay down really lightly. Please do not push hard right away. I'm going to overlap a little bit, and then I'm going to pull it a little bit farther past. And move on to the next color, overlap a little bit, and pull it down. And then go on to my last color. And you're going to repeat this process as many times as you need to. You'll find that as you get better with blending, you don't need to repeat it nearly as often. Because when I'm blending, I can blend a color within 2 swipes, or 1, quite frankly. So as you get better at it, you won't have to take as much time. So I'm still not pushing very hard because I don't want any really hard, abrupt lines. When you color hard, you're going to get a hard edge. You want it to just transition from one color to the next. So you want it to look really soft. So do not push hard right away. However, in the end, you want your colors to be nice and rich and vibrant and bright, and you want them to be solid like what? Do you guys remember, freshmen? What I called it last year? Like markers. Remember I said I want them so dark that they look like markers because it's so dark. So you don't want any of that white showing through because then it starts to look, craftsmanship gets a little poor and it looks a little messy. You can repeat that process 3 times, but the next step to get a good blend is you take your lightest color, whatever it may be. There's one exception to that rule, and I'll let you know what that is. And now you're going to take this light color and you're going to push hard from top to bottom, and that's going to give you a little bit softer of a blend. It'll help you get rid of some lines. It'll start to make those colors transition nice. So you're getting that warm color kind of swatch. Obviously, when you're pulling whatever your light color it is, it's going to alter your colors just a little bit. Now my red is more of a red-orange, and if you want to bring back the red a little bit so it reads more red and less red-orange, you can take that red and come back over the top and try to bring that back a little bit so it is a little more rich red, and you can pull it down. So you can see, yes, those colors blend. Before you jump to your final, make sure you find a good range that blends. You need at least 3 colors, all right, when you're blending. Don't just give me yellow and yellow-orange. I want you to push your palette a little bit farther. Cool colors, obviously your greens. You can do ranges of greens, ranges of blues, ranges of purples, or you can go from greens to blues to purples within one swatch, all right? I'm going to demo. I have a little piece of my tattoo, and I just traced a little section of it, and if you'd like to do the same as well, you can do that, where you just trace a little portion and practice your color choices. I'm going to start with the warm colors, but if you notice on here, I go from yellow to orange to red, and then I get to violet at the bottom. Just to show that much more range of depth, you'll find that taking either violet or blue on the bottom will make it look even more richer to the viewer. So when you get to that point, try that out. And if you need help, go ahead and holler and I can help you blend that final color in there. So I'm going to go ahead with this little swatch right here, and I'm going to do those same colors. I'm going to rotate it though, so it's facing the same. You got to think about your light source. You know, the sun's coming up from up top, so your lighter areas will be up on top. Does that make sense? Your highlights? So I'm going to take my lightest color, and I'm going to lay the lightest areas across the top of whatever my shape is. So the top there's this little fin. I'm going to color a little bit up the right side. And then the top of this swirl as well. All right, and then I'm going to go into my yellow-orange. I'm going to pull the yellow-orange a little bit around the top side, because you'll find that highlights never actually touch the edge of your paper. So that means a little bit of a darker color needs to come up around the top. The only time that you're not going to pull your lightest color, which in this case it's yellow, is if let's say you're making a light blue, because we don't have the lightest blue that you want, and you're going to lay down a little bit of white with some blue. So you'd think you'd want to pull your white from top to bottom. Well, white will alter your colors so much, it will make them almost pastel. So in that case, you're not going to pull your white, you're going to pull your lightest color blue, for instance, or your lightest color green, or whatever color is that you're using that white with. So never pull white from top to bottom. You take the second color and you're going to pull that all the way down to your base. Go into my orange, and I'm actually going to pull the orange all the way down to the bottom, and I'll just go over with my red. Sometimes when you're working in a small area, you can't get 4 different color choices or 5 or whatever. And then I'm going to go on and pull a little bit of red across the bottom. I'm not outlining it. If you give it a hard outline, it's going to look like a coloring book. So you need to kind of feather that bottom color in. I'm going to pull this color up to the top a little bit up here. If you do it just like a horizon line where it goes yellow to yellow, orange to red, and it becomes very striped, it doesn't read natural. So as you can see, I'm pulling some of my darker colors up on the top part of this swirl. Towards the bottom, I'll pull a little bit over onto this fin, just so I'm getting some range of colors throughout whatever that shape is that I'm trying to shade. In your case, you might want to repeat the whole process again with laying down your colors, but just to save a little bit of time, I can move a smidge quicker. I'm going to take my lightest color and pull from top to bottom. And now I can press nice and hard, so you're going to fill in all those white holes. And you'll find once you've colored hard and you're trying to layer in and get rid of, maybe you've got a hard line you're trying to get rid of because it didn't blend very well. There is a way to try to resolve that, but there's a point where your paper just will not accept any more colored pencil. I don't know, it's kind of that waxy film within it that will no longer take any more of your colored pencil. So you kind of just have to give up and be satisfied with what you got. I have a little bit of a line there I don't love. I'm going to pull back my red just a little bit. I'm going to feather a little bit more into this tip. So what you're going to do is when you get back to your desk, you're going to sit down and you're going to work on your practice one. You can put your final away for a while. And once you figure out, I want this section to be my warm colors, and you get comfortable with shading it, then go to your final and put it on your final. And then go back and say, okay, this section here I want to be my cool colors, or maybe just a range of purples or whatever. And then get comfortable with that and then put it on your final. Don't wait till you figured everything out and then go back to your warm colors, because you'll forget how you did it. So once you've mastered it, go ahead and move on. All right, so there's just the warm colors. And like I said, if you want to pull a little bit of that, either your cool colors in on the bottom, like I did with this purple here. I often, with red, I'll pull in purple, or excuse me, I'll pull in blue. I did purple on here, but either works well. I'm just going to take an indigo, and anywhere where it's dark, I'm just going to lightly feather a little bit of the blue in, just to get a little bit richer tone. And if you're happy with what it looks like, then by all means, you can stop. But if you want to push your value scale a little bit more, because like I said, that's one thing I'll say a lot, is push your values. I'm just really lightly feathering it in, because you don't want to push hard, because it will be a big dark blue line. And then I'm going to come back over with my red to blend it so it doesn't look like I just took a blue colored pencil and started getting wild. And there's a range of colors you can do. If you want an area to just read reds, you can just use reds with, you know, whites as highlights and blues as your shadows, or you can do, there's peaches over there, there's ranges of pinks with magentas and whatever. So don't feel like you're limited to just the warm and cool. So now you can see it's a little bit richer, yes? You see that? Makes a big difference to have that violet in there or that blue, either or. I'm just going to do one of these little teardrops I'm going to do in the cool colors so you can kind of get an idea of what they look like. In this case, I'm going to use this light green as my highlight. Make a decision, the light source is coming from up top, so often you'll find your highlights are either up top or on the right side. So I'm just going to lay down my light green, and then I'm going to come in with my a little bit darker green. And work around that, because remember your highlight, your lightest color will never touch the edge. And then since it's so small, I think I will just move into a bit of a violet, or excuse me, a bit of a purple here. Blue, geez, I don't know my colors. I'm going to repeat that process one more time. And then I'm going to go into the blue. Take my lightest color, push nice and hard to get a good blend. Like I said, if your color dissolves too much with pulling that light color, go get your darker colors and lay it a little bit over the top so it can come back a little bit, so it's a nice range of value from light to dark. So that's just a range of blues going into your violets. They're suggested on the edge of these, there are the colors. This one's an indigo blue. Write it down somewhere so the next day when you come in, you don't have to dig for the colors. You can say, okay, I need indigo blue, I need chartreuse, and I need spring green. You write them somewhere. I don't care if it's on your folders or on a little sheet of paper. But writing them down will help you tremendously so you're not scrounging in the bucket trying to figure out what colors you have. All right, any questions? Great, get to work.